The elevator doors had barely closed when Emma realized the phone wasn't hers. She looked down at the sleek black device lying on top of her files, a top-of-the-line model, its glass back reflecting the fluorescent lights. Her own phone had a cracked corner and a fading pink case. This one looked like it belonged in a boardroom, not her worn leather tote. Then she saw the name on the screen, Alexander Hayes. Her breath caught. Her billionaire boss, the CEO of Hayes Global, the man whose signature could move markets, and who had, just an hour ago, brushed past her in the corridor with his usual distracted intensity, saying only, "Emma, reschedule the Tokyo call." He must have dropped it when he handed her the files. She considered leaving it with security, but the phone vibrated, a deep, urgent buzz. Then again, and again, the caller ID flashed. Private number. Emma hesitated. She knew she shouldn't. Answering her boss's phone was not in her job description, but something in her gut twisted. Alexander was supposed to be flying to Geneva tonight. What if it was important? She swiped to answer. "Mr. Hayes." The voice on the other end was sharp, male, and slightly distorted, like it was coming through a voice modulator. "You're late. The transfer needs to happen in 20 minutes. Are the documents secured?" Emma froze. I think you have the wrong. Don't play games," the man snapped. "If you're having second thoughts, remember what's at stake. The board won't wait. If the files aren't uploaded, everything collapses, including you." Then the line went dead. Emma stared at the phone, pulse hammering. Documents. Transfer. Board. What was this? Some kind of hostile deal? Or? Her heart dropped. Blackmail. She replayed the man's words in her head. If the files aren't uploaded. She glanced at her laptop bag. The same files Alexander had given her were still inside. Her first instinct was to call the police, but what would she tell them? That she'd answered her boss's phone and overheard something suspicious. No proof, no context. She needed to warn him. Emma rushed out of the elevator and into the marble lobby, nearly tripping over her heels. "Alexander Hayes, where is he?" she asked the receptionist breathlessly. "He left 10 minutes ago, Ms. Brooks," the woman replied. "Said he was heading to the private hangar." Of course, Geneva. Emma grabbed her bag and sprinted toward the exit, heart thudding. She didn't have clearance for the hangar, but she knew the route from scheduling his flights. By the time she reached the private terminal, her blouse was sticking to her skin and her lungs burned. A black Bentley stood parked beside a sleek jet, its engines idling. A tall man in a navy suit was climbing the steps. "Alexander." "Mr. Hayes," she shouted. He turned, brows drawn together. "Emma, what are you doing here?" She ran up, thrusting the phone toward him. "You dropped this, and someone just called. I think you're in danger." His jaw tightened. What did they say? She told him everything in one breath. The voice, the threat, the transfer. Alexander's expression didn't change, but something flickered in his eyes, a sharp, calculating glint. "Get in," he said simply, nodding toward the plane. "What? I can't." "You can," he interrupted, already moving. "And you're going to tell me every word of that call again." Inside the jet, the hum of the engines was deafening. Alexander dropped into a seat opposite her and unlocked his phone with a quick scan. His movements were clipped, controlled. After a long silence, he said, "That wasn't a random call. Someone inside the company is trying to trigger an unauthorized wire transfer using my credentials." That's what the voice meant. By transfer. "They've been trying to breach our system for weeks." Emma's eyes widened. "But how did they get your number?" "They didn't," he said darkly. "They hacked a contact chain. And if they called now," he looked up, "it means they think I'm going along with it." Emma swallowed. "So they're watching you." He gave a tight nod. "And if I'd answered, they'd know I was onto them." Her hands trembled slightly. "So what do we do?" Alexander stood, pacing. "We use your mistake." "My mistake." He looked at her, really looked at her, and for the first time, she saw the strain beneath his polished calm. "You answered. They think I'm still on board. That gives us a window." He opened his laptop and began typing furiously, lines of encrypted code flashing across the screen. "If we can make them believe the transfer succeeded, we can trace the route and find who's behind it." Emma watched, awe mixing with fear. "You can do that." He allowed himself a faint smile. "Money moves faster than truth, Ms. Brooks. But I've spent my life chasing both." She hesitated. "What do you need me to do?" "Talk," he said. "If they call again, you answer. Be me." Her throat went dry. I can't pretend to be. You already did, he said gently. You saved me from walking into a trap. Now help me finish it. 10 minutes later, the phone buzzed again. Emma's stomach dropped. She looked at Alexander, who nodded once. She answered, yes, Mr. Hayes. Good. I trust the files are secure. The same distorted voice. Emma steadied her breathing. They're secure. The transfer will happen shortly. Excellent. You'll receive coordinates in 2 minutes. Use the private server. Don't involve anyone else. The line clicked off. Alexander's fingers flew over the keyboard. Got him, he murmured. He sent an IP packet. Routing through Singapore, then Berlin. Emma leaned forward. Can you find him? He didn't look up. Already have. Within seconds, the screen displayed a company email address, one she recognized. Jonathan Pierce, CFO. Emma's hand flew to her mouth. He's your friend. He was, Alexander said coldly. Until he tried to sell the company's data to a rival fund. He hid one final key, sending an encrypted signal. And now the authorities have his location. The tension in the cabin broke. Emma exhaled shakily, realizing how close everything had come to disaster. Alexander closed the laptop and looked at her, the calculating CEO replaced by something quieter, more human. You didn't have to get involved, he said. But you did. You could have ignored that call. I thought you might need help, she said simply. A slow smile curved his lips. Remind me to give you a raise, and maybe a heart monitor. She laughed weakly, the adrenaline finally wearing off. I'll settle for a vacation. He stood, offering his hand. You've earned both. As she took it, the jet lights reflected off his phone, the one she'd accidentally answered, the one that had almost cost him everything. And for the first time since she'd started working for Alexander Hayes, Emma realized that sometimes saving someone didn't require heroics. Just instinct, and a little courage to act on it. Outside, the engines roared to life, and the city lights fell away beneath them. The elevator doors slid shut, and Emma Brooks exhaled for the first time in hours. The day had been brutal. Last-minute reports, tense investor calls, and her impossibly demanding boss, Alexander Hayes, billionaire CEO of Hayes Global. She reached for her phone, ready to escape into a podcast on the way home, and froze. The sleek, black device in her hand wasn't hers. No pink case. No hairline crack on the corner. The wallpaper glowed with a minimalist, H, logo. Her stomach sank. Alexander's phone. He must have left it on her desk when he handed her those merger documents earlier. She stared at it like it might bite. The man treated privacy like oxygen, controlled, measured, essential. Before she could decide what to do, the phone buzzed violently. Once, twice, then again. Incoming call. Private number. Emma hesitated, thumb hovering. She shouldn't answer. She really shouldn't. But what if it was important? She swiped the screen. Mr. Hayes. A distorted male voice rasped through the speaker. You're cutting it close. Is the transfer complete? Emma blinked. I think you. Listen carefully, the man interrupted. If you delay this any longer, the board will notice. We agreed the upload would be done tonight. If you back out now, you'll regret it. Wait. Who is this? She stammered, but the line had already gone dead. Her fingers trembled. The words, transfer, and board, looped in her head. What kind of transfer? Financial, illegal. Her first instinct was to pretend it hadn't happened. Return the phone tomorrow. Forget it. But something didn't sit right. Alexander was on his way to the private airstrip, scheduled for Geneva. What if this wasn't just business? What if he was walking into something dangerous? Emma grabbed her bag, clutching both phones, and ran. By the time she reached the building's glass doors, she was breathless. Mr. Hayes, did he already leave? She gasped at security. Yes, ma'am, 10 minutes ago. Black Bentley. She didn't think. Just hailed the nearest cab. Private terminal. Now. The hangar loomed ahead, quiet except for the roar of a jet warming up. A tall figure in a tailored suit was climbing the stairs. Mr. Hayes. He turned sharply, brows narrowing when he saw her. Emma, what on earth? She held up the phone. You dropped this. And someone called. They said something about a transfer and the board noticing. His face changed. Gone was the calm executive mask. Something colder replaced it, alert, calculating. Get inside, he said. What? I just came to. Now, he ordered. If that call came through my line, you may have just saved us both. Part 2, The Trap. Inside the jet, the hum of the engines filled the silence. Alexander took the phone from her, eyes scanning the call log. "You spoke to him?" he asked quietly. "Yes. He thought I was you." He exhaled sharply, running a hand through his hair. "Then this may be worse than I thought." Emma hesitated. "Who was that?" "A ghost from inside my own company," he said bitterly. "Someone's trying to trigger a massive data transfer, one that would leak confidential financials to our competitors. They need my encrypted authorization to do it. So, they were expecting you to confirm it." He nodded. "And when you answered instead, you bought me time. Whoever it is, they think I'm still playing along." Emma's pulse quickened. "Playing along? You mean they think you're involved?" "Exactly. They set a trap for me, but they don't realize I've stepped out of it." He turned to her suddenly, his tone brisk. "I need your help, my help. You're the only person they've spoken to. If they call again, you'll answer, pretend to be me." She nearly laughed. "Pretend to be Alexander Hayes? I can barely talk to you without stuttering." He smiled faintly. "Just keep your answers short. Confidence is 90% tone." Before she could argue, the phone buzzed again. Her breath caught. He nodded once. "Now." She swiped. "Yes. Good," the distorted voice said. "We're proceeding. The upload link will be active in 5 minutes. Use the Geneva server, same credentials." Emma forced her voice low. "Understood. Once the transfer completes, destroy the drive. No traces." The line cut. Alexander was already typing furiously on his laptop. "That's it. He just gave me everything I needed." Lines of code flashed on his screen. "They're routing the data through 3 proxies. I can trace it back." He stopped. His eyes darkened. "Jonathan Pierce." Emma's heart sank. "Your CFO, my friend," he said bitterly. "We built this company together." He hit a key, encrypting the signal. Not anymore. Within moments, he'd rerouted the false upload to a federal cybersecurity task force. "They'll intercept the signal in minutes," he murmured. "By the time Jonathan realizes what's happening, he'll be in handcuffs." Emma sat back, adrenaline fading into disbelief. "You just trapped the trapper." Alexander looked up, the faintest smile on his lips. "With a little help from my assistant who doesn't know how to ignore a ringing phone." She laughed shakily. "I thought I was about to get fired." "Fired?" He shook his head. "Emma, you just saved a multibillion-dollar corporation, and possibly my life." For a long moment, silence hung between them, the tension replaced by something warmer, unfamiliar. He reached across the table. "Thank you," he said quietly. She smiled, still catching her breath. "Next time you drop your phone, I'm pretending I didn't see it." He chuckled. "Next time, I'll make sure it's only a phone, not a trap." Outside the window, the dawn was beginning to rise, casting soft gold over the jet's wings. The danger was over, for now. But as Emma leaned back, watching the first light spill across the clouds, she realized that one impulsive choice had changed everything. She had answered her boss's forgotten phone. And in doing so, she had answered the call of fate.